People would always ask me about, if I'm pleased with how Afropean, my previous book, was received. And I realised that, I always describe it as a happy failure. And I think that's probably going to define all my work from now on. I think this project is another happy failure.
I remember speaking to a friend and it always stuck with me. And we're talking about music. And we're saying we love it when a really great scene or art or anything emerges out of somewhere where nobody's asking for it. No one's asking for a kid from an area like this to take photographs or to be creative, But people still do it.
I started out taking photographs to make sense of a really sort of lost period of my life. The camera was just one of many kind of fads, but then it stuck, because as I was wandering around the kind of hinterlands of Sheffield, it gave me something to do. When you're feeling lost, maybe that's when things really start happening. Maybe that's where you're starting to find a way.
This is my dad's camera that I shoot a lot on. It's quite haunting for me because, I've got old VHS footage of him in the late 80s taking photographs on this, and a lot of my family album, my archive, was taken on this. Photography for me is really tied up with, memory and kind of repurposing and rethinking memory. So all the photographs that I'm taking of the black community on the coast, in my head, I kind of want to create a home, an idea of a home for them in the form of an exhibition. Roger Robinson got in touch with me and said we should try and work on a project grappling with Black Britain. Then I realised I had this archive to work from that was taken in a very kind of everyday way. And then I finally getting the Ampersand Photoworks Fellowship gave me some funding to produce new work, to really be the glue with the archive, make new work that made sense of the entire body of work, which is travelling the coast. So that's how it kind of really came together, is working off this 15-year-old archive and then producing new work to really make sense of it. You would almost think that the coast has no sense of history connected to colonialism or connected to immigration or connected to deportation. And actually I really wanted to look at this these psychic fault lines, the edge of this country, and look at all the secrets that they hold, and all the black history that they hold.
The essence of what it is to be a black person.
Yeah.
There's a regular world that's very sheeny, iPhoney, but then there's this world where it's just okay, it's feelings and emotions and spirit, Turn that page, turn the next page.
Yeah.
That is not just a picture. That's a proxy for feeling.
These high and low superlatives of blackness that we see so often depicted, it's either sports stars or fashion models on the one hand, or people at protests or in ghettos on the other. And so that I wanted to change that. I wanted to take these images of really everydayness, of people going to work or commuting or dropping their kids off to school.
Those quiet contributions to Britain by the black community to sort of normalise the black people in this country, because that's what I'm fighting for, is in some ways for just an acceptance of what Britain is today.
There's this thing in my work that Shoair noticed, and it's she calls it the moment of recognition. So it's kind of like when I'm taking a photograph of someone and they just look at me and I look at them at this one fraction of a second, and that's what I kind of take photographs of. I like that they see me taking their photograph, and they gave me, if not even a verbal permission, a kind of just a recognition that we're in this moment together, and a kind of trust as well. Again, you see in this moment where somebody's just looking at me, and that's where I take the image. And that's constantly what I'm looking for, is a kind of softness in my images, a kind of something that's kind of gentle, and is not trying to turn people into villains or victims,
Taking the images is one thing, making sense of the images in an exhibition or a book is another. And really it's the notion of collaboration. So for me, it's been a real team effort. And I realised that before I was doing it all on my own, and not because I wanted to necessarily, but because I wasn't thinking in any other way. With this project, I realised that it is all about collaboration. When we're putting the exhibition together, I want it to feel like my home growing up, a working class black home, but also I want it to feel like a home for other working class black people. The people who I'm taking photographs of, which is my family, my community, that they feel welcome into the space. I think there's something off kilter about this work, surreal, abstract in places that I think I didn't necessarily set out to do in the beginning. You know, I think I had a simplified idea of what Black Britain was and what it should look like. And this project that I had in my mind, it's become something different, but something, like, in my opinion, that is much bigger and better than I ever could have imagined, actually. Home is not a place, you know. Home is a mood, it's an atmosphere, it's community, it's people, and it's the things, you know, the various ingredients of your life that are important to you. And so, like, at the moment, this is home.